He can command the dead. I hadn't spoken a word since the conversation had begun, but a quiet gasp escaped my lips when I failed to contain it. Cravensworth was the capital of our world, a beautiful port city to the south. The most powerful city in our nation, it protected us from assailants across the sea, pirates who had tried to loot our land for riches in the past. We submitted to its rule in exchange for protection. But now there was no one to protect us. Instead of lowering himself back into the chair with grace, my father dropped down with a thud. He slouched, his hand returning to his clenched mouth. What does he want? He spoke in a whisper, like it was only meant for himself to hear. I don't know, Lieutenant Finney said. But I know he'll come for us next. From that moment on, the kingdom prepared for war. A war we had no chance of winning. Every able-bodied man over the age of 16 was enlisted to fight. They were given a single day of combat training from the veteran soldiers, then given a sword and flimsy armor to protect their skin. All the good armor was already taken, and there simply wasn't enough for everyone else. I was a 15-year-old girl, too young to fight and too physically weak to contribute in any meaningful way. All I could do was sit there and watch my father slowly die from the poison of stress. We couldn't evacuate. Not when there was nowhere to flee. Not when the Death King would hunt us from the skies. We couldn't fight, we couldn't flee, we couldn't do anything. All we could do was await our fate. Callista. My eyes were on the bowl of soup in front of me. It was still hot, steam rising to warm the skin of my cheeks. We'd had a rough winter this year, several feet of snow falling throughout the night, and that just made our woes worse. I lifted my chin to meet my father's look across the table. He seemed just as disinterested in his soup. The servants served us like nothing had changed, like death wasn't marching for our doorstep. The sheets were still changed daily, fresh meals were placed in front of us, and our clothes were still ironed. I stared at my father and waited for him to say his piece. He gave a quiet sigh and let his eyes drop slowly. I'm sorry for all of this. It's not your fault. My father had a peaceful reign. So have I. But it seems that luck has run out. Goes to show that nothing ever stays the same. I looked at my soup again. You deserve to be a child, to be happy, not to watch your father prepare for a battle against a necromancer. I kept my eyes on my soup. He may not come, he will. I won't shield you from horror, but I don't want you to be oblivious either. I lifted my chin to look at him. What happened? To the people of Cravensworth? His eyes locked on mine for a long while. I don't know. I imagine he beheaded King Theodore and took his crown. Now he rules over the people as his own. If it was that easy for him to take the capital, then it'll be even easier to take the other kingdoms. Then we should surrender, I said. Submit to his reign. My father stared at the table. We recognize King Theodore as our king. What does it matter who sits on the throne if we keep our kingdoms and our heads? He remained quiet. Father? We don't know who we're dealing with, Callista. A necromancer. As our king, it makes me sick. To disturb the peace of the dead, to command the quiet spirits, to raise corpses from the soil to do his bidding, is truly disturbing. Imagine how our lives would change with someone like that in charge. Bumps formed across my arms. My heart even skipped a beat, like it was too afraid to make the slightest sound. But we can't defeat him. He stared at me for a long time, seeming to be at a loss for words. There are worse things than dying.